Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unfit crew. If it's your first time, hello. If not, also hello. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, few quick things before we begin. First things first. Because of session last time being 3 hours long, and because it was nightmare for me to upload as well as just too long for some people to watch, I decided that the best thing to do is pretty much divide every chapter to two. So you're all going to get half the chapter this week and half the chapter in the week that we do not record. So part A should be in the week that we're recording, and part B should be in the week that we're not recording. But for the most part, it should be better for you. So we'll have an hour each week instead of just having 2 hours and a half, which is a little bit less good in terms of watch time and everything, because you're not going to not saying you're not paying attention to that, but it's a little bit harder to pay attention to. That's what I'm trying to say, which I think is a little bit more smarter for everybody involved. Secondly, because I want to make the characters feel unique, and because of just I want them their abilities to think unique and not oh, they just got a new ability. We're going to work into the story every ability that I feel is major, which I don't see a lot of D&D games do that ever, if even, which I think is very, very much a shame, because honestly, they already choose their abilities or got their abilities, but if it's a major ability, I'm going to try to work it into the narrative if it's need any kind of explanation, because I feel like just giving the character a little bit more layers is a little bit more interesting rather than just, nothing. But I think that's pretty much it for that, and without further ado, I think we should jump right in the previously for this, which is the first previously. So we're going to recap what happened every episode prior, and for anybody who just have a hard time or kind of was able to watch through the end, but if you really want to see the details and actually understand what happened to the characters, you need to kind of listen for the most of the parts, because otherwise you're missing some little details here and there that I forget, which are very, very important, but not in the grand scheme of things for the recap itself. I'm just going to throw that out there. So let's start off with the recap. So last time in the Unfit crew, we met our three heroes, which are Gorgnak, the dwarf cleric, Wexley
Winge. Wexley Winge.
Almost. Wexley Winge, which is our elf wizard, and our human fighter, Bobby Blueford. Each and every single one of them did something for their own day. After that, they kind of met at the bar known as the Dancing Duck, where Lisa, which is the owner of the said so-called tavern, not bar, pretty much is the cousin of Wexley, and she kind of greeted them in for the great ceremony, which is about to take today. And the great ceremony is the teens growing into adulthood, kind of a little bit of a so-called test/journey in order to essentially come into adulthood and be part of the guard or any other heroic so-called unique helping the town kind of role. Forgot the word for a second. Anyway, that's pretty much what was supposed to happen today. It's a ceremonial thing that happen every year in Hilford, and apparently it got run late a little bit too much, which raised the alarm in the middle of the town, calling Nuella, which is the so-called town commander. She called everybody to the town, tell them not to panic, but she might need to ask a few people to go out there to find out what happened to the group of the kids, as well as their caretaker/guide, because they're running a little bit too late for usual, and they didn't send anything in order to essentially accommodate for that, to saying oh, we're a little bit too late. You three have pretty much volunteered for that job, and you decided to go out there and find them out. After a little bit of searching of like an hour or two, you found yourself in the camp of the ceremony participant, and you find it out to be absolutely dismantled. Nothing was taken, surprisingly, but nobody was there. And you found out drag marks that led right into the nearest cave, where you pretty much fought with two big bears, which were covered up in weird, kind of gooey whitish spots, which weren't natural and transmitting very, very little light here and there. And after a little bit of assessment, Gorgnak realized that it's pretty much a very rare disease by using divine magic called the White Madness. And he pretty much assessed that the guy that pretty much used this ability is going to be in the middle of the cave, either took the children or just the guy that did that to the bears. And he was correct on that regard. However, you were surprised to find out that the guys who did that kind of thing were orcs, rather than just people of the divine. Orcs are not creatures known for the divine. But after a little bit of fighting, the group was able to beat said orcs and their assistant goblins by the bare of their teeth, or I forgot the term for that, but almost were taking down, rather than the heroic fighting capabilities of Bobby and Gorgnak, giving the ability for Wexley to landing out the finishing blow and essentially ending this fight in your favor. As the Orcaster fell down right into the middle of the lake, he cursed a demon goddess, which kind of raised up a few questions. And that's where we left off. So, pretty much, the Orcaster body kind of ended up in the middle of the lake. It's not a big lake, so it's just kind of like floating there beside the body of in the middle of the lake as well, the other one that he pretty much casted things on. The children are still kind of like around the walls of this cave, and nothing really much have changed except from the fact that like Wexley kind of like waked up Gorgnak and Bobby and kind of prevented them to die, pretty much. So what are you going to do right now?
Well, first I think our priority should be to free the children so that they're no longer bound to the cave walls. Are they in like chains, or are they like roped up to anything?
It's not like painful chains, like pinned chains, but it is kind of like, either ropes to a rock or like heavy chains to a rock. It's not like really like into like an actual wall, because there really nothing specifically they could like pin it to. It's just something that like they caught a particular rock in like the wall, like rock that go outside a little bit, and they kind of like roped it very, very hard in a way that they cannot really escape, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like there are certain like stalagmites or something that they have it caught around so that they can't move.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, what do I have to smash to have them freed?
Okay, so you free the children. There are 5 of them in total.
1, 2, 3. How many was just supposed to have?
You never asked.
And where's that guy? What was his name again? That he should be with those kids.
Roll a wisdom.
It's me. I did not note that.
You forgot the name of the guy. Roll wisdom. Straight wisdom. Let's see if you can remember. $16, you remember. It was Jonas. That's his name. That's the guy name.
Alright, Jonas. Jonas, where is he and his brothers? If he had any.
I hate to open up the gateway to the morbid, but is there anything in the lake that might, I don't know, be a body or something that might
Yes.
show Jonas's
I
fate?
think
Yes. There is a body in the lake. You didn't check
The
that out. There is
caster.
a body beside the Orecaster, pretty much.
Oh dear.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to
I
check that out?
suppose it's investigating time for the body.
So I would say this, the water were before kind of like turning, as you remember, like whitish, right? Now the white is kind of dispersed. It's kind of like going away, so to speak. Like it's kind of like going out. Kind of like it's almost disappeared, and it's like when you kind of like if you entering the lake itself, if you decide to, it's pretty much disappeared at this point. The water didn't really stay there.
Okay, I can get into the lake. What do I have to roll to
You don't
see
really
if
need
there
to
is a
roll
body?
anything. For the body itself, which body are you going to check? There are two of them in the water.
The one that wasn't killed by us.
Roll investigation. Check. As you drag it out of the water, obviously. That's a half-dead corpse. Half-dissolved corpse into an armor. That's pretty much what you see.
Hey, guys, I found a corpse.
That's a pretty dead man there.
Excellent, good. Excellent deductive reasoning,
Very
Grog. I'm
dead.
very proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, I don't mean to step on your expertise, but do you mind if I take a crack at it, see if some new eyes can discover anything?
But I don't think you'll be able to determine that he is even more dead.
Okay, I'm gonna give him the once-over, see if I pick anything up.
Okay. You're taking your time a little bit more into this. It's still taking a little bit hard time for you because it's still kind of hard to recognize, but you recognize it as Jonas. It's pretty much Jonas. What you see there is kind of something that kind of halfly shock you that it's even possible / terrifying in the same time. What you see there is kind of like his body, right? Like the half left side of his body is still human. The other side is, it looks like it dissolved and kind of like combined with the metal, kind of. Like it's kind of like become part of the armor. The right side, like his other sides just don't exist. It's kind of like became part of the armor. And he has kind of like an emblem of like a helmet on a crown with wings behind it on the middle of like the right side of the plate, whereas like, you know, the start of the brace plate, where it's like started like the dissolving kind of a thing.
Well, outstanding. I found a thing I wasn't expecting to find today.
Also,
I
his
need
hand
to
is not
find a
human
place to
anymore.
throw up.
I forgot to mention that his hand is not human anymore. It's more
Is-
birdish
Oh?
like.
Melted with the metal.
You're trying to open up the metal.
Oh,
You sure you want to do that? Okay, sure. You wanna?
yes.
No, you're trying like to peel up the armor chest plate, right?
Okay, so let's see what's inside.
Okay. Roll a strength check. You open up it like with a big bang, and what you see inside is nothing. Like it's empty.
That was anticlimactic.
But there is one thing that you do notice, which is something that you've seen on the bears before. You've seen like the kind of white madness kind of a thing, kind of like part of the armors, like in the place that they were supposed to be etched to, like in the place that like the dissolving starts. It's like a line of white madness, pretty much. Like you recognize this because you've seen this before. It's not like a weird white line. It's pretty much that.
Damn it.
Bobby, what are you doing?
Wait, do you?
Oh,
Wait, do you get the feeling that we've stumbled upon something that we weren't supposed to see?
Maybe. Bobby, what are you doing in this time? Just to let me know.
Their body in the lake. That's fine.
Are you going to investigate some of the other bodies or the body in the middle of the lake? The other one?
Yeah, I'll do.
Are you going to check? What are you going to check?
The one in the lake.
Okay. Roll investigation, I guess. Because you bring it out, but I want to see what you find. That's pretty good. 21 is pretty good. So what you find is interesting. You find two things. First and foremost, obviously, you find the ritual-related weapons and stuff like that on him, on the caster, and like, you know, some materials for casting magic, obviously, which could be useful for your friend. But the thing that mostly interests you is that you found kind of like a weird, kind of like half destroyed because it fell into the water, kind of like a diary of ascent. It's mostly destroyed because it fell into the water, because it was in the upper part of his body, but because he fell into the water because you killed him, it's got destroyed pretty quickly, apparently. But there are some kind of like words here and there that you can just scramble, but who of you can read Orcish? That's pretty much what I need to check out, you know, to see who of you can read that.
I can read Orcish.
Okay, so you cannot really make whole a lot of, except from like we're doing it for the forgotten ones, the holy forgotten ones and stuff like that, and you all once again, like, you see, like, you cannot really make a lot of this because, like I said, it's mostly destroyed. But what you do make out of it is, like, you find out that like, once again, he scrambled thing about this demon goddess that he mentioned before he died. Like, a few things about her, and you kind of find out her name. It's a very, very weird one, so please don't laugh at me. It's Ivers Zarile Id Edok for full name. Or Ivers for short. It's her short name, but her full name is Ivers Zarile Id Edok. That's her full name. And honestly,
That was crazy. Could you put that in the group chat so we could like copy that down?
I can send it to group chat. I will send it right now. Just give me a second. But the point is, she specifically is somebody that they honestly don't like. For some reason, they kind of like make out that she's not a good goddess that she make her up to be, because apparently, from what you can read, she's like, apparently she like kind of atoned to being a demon, and then kind of like not becoming good, but, you know, kind of not against the mortal races. She's kind of in the middle, as it speaks. And they're also kind of like a scrambled picture, kind of her, as you find out in the end, which looks like a demon lady in robes with like you can make out like a green scar on one of her cheeks, very, very bright red hair, and like very cold blue eyes. As you hold up fire in her arms. Obviously, it's kind of like scrambled picture. It's not like very high quality, but it's something that you can make up of.
So, Bobby, what you found there?
I found some notes and probably some good materials for Wexley. I don't know how to use any magic, but he could probably use it.
Sweet.
I'll gladly take a look at them if you don't mind parting with them.
Anything else?
Of course. Here you go.
I pinned the name of the goddess speak, so you will see it in Discord and remember it. Also, you've been asked if you found anything else. Are you sharing the notes or you're not? Just asking. Because you can choose not to.
I'll share the notes with them.
Alright, so he shared all the information that I laid up for him, specifically with all of you.
Fascinating stuff.
For the love of Eos, what the? Crap. Can I roll something to get any more information, since I'm a cleric?
You can try, sure.
What would that be, religion?
Obviously. So what are you trying to find? What do you want specifically to find? Because I want exactly to know the field of what like you want to know specifically.
If I know anything regarding her history of this demon goddess, if there's
You know
anything in
things.
regards to this
She's not.
thing.
She's not a demon from this world. She's from another one. She's not came here. It's her like third or fourth universe that she's been in. Like you don't really understand the concept of universe, if I'm making sense. Dimension been in. It's not her home dimension. She's here, but it's not the place that she originally came from. She kind of like roam around here and just decide to make this place her home and just not even wanted to actually have the attention, but apparently people gave her the attention. So she just decided to make a temple of people that are just helping each other. She don't really care about fights and war, and she don't really she don't care about the concept of goods and evil, honestly. She just care about I don't really want to kill people for no good reason, pretty much. She doesn't really have the reason to hurt humans for no good reason, just like her brethren or sisters do. And
So she's pretty much neutral.
Yeah, for the most part she is. She did, however, you heard that she didn't bring it with her. You heard that she has kind of adopted a human child, pretty much as her kind of son or disciple of sort.
Okay, I shared all I know with the group, so they know about all of this.
That kind of stuff certainly goes against the grain. You'd think as a demon goddess they would be much more vicious, but
Funnily
fascinating
enough,
stuff.
Well, you know,
you
there are things and there are things. You say potato, I say potato.
Funny enough, I forgot to mention Gornak. You also know that her race is a succubus originally, so that's also kind of raised some questions. Okay. So you found out the detail. Are you going to check out the other bodies, or are you going to just continue on?
Of course, I'm going to check all the goblins and orcs.
I'm going to make this a collective roll, unless anybody of you want to give him advantage on this one. You can help him with that, because I'm going to make this a collective roll because it's just going to take way too much time if I'm just going to go through body to body for no good reason.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and assist. I'll assist Grognak.
So roll with
assist
advantage, Gornak.
What should I roll?
Investigation, obviously.
Womp womp.
14 is not bad. So you find a few things. First and foremost, they do have a little bit of a coin on them. Not a whole lot, but they do. They have somewhere around 3 gold pieces altogether for the entire free guys. It's been how much people? Give me a second. It's around 4 people.
Goblins.
So 2 goblins and 2 orcs beside the caster himself. So you got around 3 golds in total, obviously in different coins. You got few arrows, essentially, if you want to take them, around 10 useful arrows.
How many?
I'm not sure any of you use arrows because I think you use bolts, so it doesn't really help you that much. And an arrow that got stuck on an eye because one of the goblins killed himself. Yeah, and you also found like one good, useful axe that you can maybe use or sell, like useful rusted battle axe.
Yeah.
For a smaller axe, I'd take it myself just to add to my intimidating aura, but it's too large for me. So if anyone else would like, please go ahead.
So I'm taking all the gold pieces and it's 1 gold for everyone.
Yeah, write it down. I will just collectively do everything like that later. Okay. It will be better if you write it down in a note, or some of you will write it for a note for all of you, and then I'll just like take care of that later. Like, we'll be the treasure. Who want to be the treasure guy? The one that like take care of all the notes, so-called, of like things that you got or lost. Who want to do that? Silence. Nobody wants.
I'm only doing this for myself, so I can do for the rest of
Do it
as well.
for the rest of the crew to just pay attention for that, and then we can just discuss everything and just make it a little bit more easier for me to just follow along. So yeah, this.
Okay, so did we get anything that we can use from the caster so I can note it down?
You got some useful materials for you got the notebook itself, which you didn't decipher 100%, but you still decipher some part of it. Maybe you can recover it somewhere. But you got the like very, very wet notebook with some particular like notes that you can find, and you find some magic materials for Wexley specifically, or you specifically if you can use them. Pretty much replenishing of a little bit of magic supplies. It's pretty simple, not something that we need to write something about. It's not something like, oh my god, something very, very big. It's like, it's just replenishing anything you lost and maybe giving you a little bit of extra, pretty much, for the time being. So that's what it did. Secondly, the items that I mentioned, and pretty much it. And the children are kind of like getting, not scared or anything. They're kind of like getting themselves back together. The 5 of them, which they're kind of like looking around. Some of them still confused of what happened exactly, because they're not really 100% remember, or like kind of like trying to put the trauma aside, pretty much, like kind of pushing it to the side with kind of like fear of everything that they've been through, right? So they're kind of like,
okay. I'm walking towards the what I think is the oldest child.
You find yourself more before like actually an half elf boy, which looks like around, if you count it in human years, around 16, so to speak. He looks like the most built up out of all of them in terms of like height, because the rest of them look like maybe a little bit smaller, or like less respectable for some reason for his statures. And he kind of like have like a weird kind of like look like a fresh scar on his right eye, so to speak, like not like deep into his eye, but a little bit of a fresh scar, looks like it, like he got from something. A little bit of wounds here and there on his arms, but he looks at you as like, he doesn't really know what to say. He just looks at you.
Okay, can I use heal wounds on him?
For the sake of purposes,
Cure wounds.
Sure. I technically all of you have outer spells, but for the sake of purposes, I don't really mind, because we're out of combat.
It's fluff.
Don't really care.
At this point, it's fluff.
Yeah, it's fluff. You pretty much take your heal kit, you kind of use a little bit of your magic, and you kind of like heal the wounds a little bit. You don't heal the wound on the eye completely, but you make it go to be less ugly, or kind of like noticeable. It's it's very less noticeable right now.
Here you go. Okay, so we came here to get you. Sucks about Jonas. I'll tell his brother. I'll say to Captain to tell his brothers. Now let's go back.
Wait, does everybody's
Oh,
accounted for?
Let's not just
What?
leave Jonas here. We have that body bag, don't we? We should
You
take
got
it
it.
back so that we can.
You got the bag. You bag him.
Okay, I'll back
Yes,
him.
and I also have limbs that you could mistake for tree branches, and Jonas is now fused with metal. So if someone could please help me prepare
Fused
the
with metal?
bodies so we can take them back,
Used with metal?
and then we'll. Jonas,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I thought you were talking about yourself. I was like, wait, fused with metal? I was like, what? What happened? Yeah, you're talking about Jonas.
He's not Wolverine yet.
Yet. So yeah, you want to take the body of Jonas and put it in the body bag?
Yes, I think that his next of kin deserve the closure, and also I think this needs deeper investigation.
Fair point.
Bobby, I need you to roll for me a reflex save, or should I say a dexterity saving throw. Okay, you able to pass it, but your sword isn't. It's covered up in the kind of armor part that just jumped on the hilt of your sword and start covering it, like the part that Gorgnak took out of the armor. And you're just starting to cover that up in like a weird kind of goldish metal. Like a life of its own.
In blazes?
No, it just
Get
jumps.
away.
It shines for a few seconds and then it just like calm down. It looks a little bit ugly as you take it out right now, but it's on your sword and it's kind of unattachable. It's weird. You've never seen anything like this.
What tarnation?
It's kind of fused with your sword.
Bobby, I don't mean to tell you your business, but I would exude much caution when interacting with whatever's happening here.
I give Bobby the rusted battle axe. Use this instead.
Thank you. I don't even know if I should trust this sword anymore.
I definitely wouldn't.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's some cloth around here we can use. Let's wrap this up. We should also be investigating this as well.
Yeah. Also, the kids is like, you held Gorgnak says like to you, Bobby, is like, you should probably take it out to the blacksmith, maybe. Maybe he can tell you a little bit of thing. Maybe you can take it also to the tower mage, right? Maybe they can tell you if this is problematic.
You know, Bobby, you know what, Bobby? I think you should go to the tower first, then hit out the blacksmith.
Okay, once we're out of here, we'll go and do that.
So you take the kids after you healed them. You take the body of Jonas, which kind of like got ripped a little bit by you and some of its materials on Bobby's sword for some reason. You pretty much put the sword with the body just to make sure that it's like, oh, it's not possessed or something, and also just prevent it as evidence. I think that's pretty much what you do, right? Or you just want to keep the sword for yourself. If you want to keep
the Grognak is pretty much scared of the sword right now.
I'm asking Bobby if you want to keep the sword on himself or he want the sword like to be with the stuff, if I'm narrating that correctly.
I'll hold on to the sword myself, but I'll be careful with it.
Okay. So you go outside of the cave, passing through the bodies and the bare bodies, which kind of dissolved for some reason. They kind of disappeared. Nothing left of them, just a little bit of like a whitish, so-called pale, I forget the word for it, a little bit like smudge on the floor of like white, like kind of the things that you find out in your room when you have to clean it. I forgot the name for that. The gray thing.
What?
I think
Dust.
dust. Right, dust. I don't know why I forgot dust for some reason. Anyway, dust. You find a little bit of white dust on the floor as it's like stays there.
Can I take some of those dust? Of this dust?
You can take. You're able to collect up to a bottle of white dust.
Also, as long as we're collecting field samples, I know that the water's divine energy is dissipated up to this point, but I'd still like to take a vial of it just in case there's the slightest hint of that energy left that we might be able to examine.
Okay. Probably next time, if that will be the case, I will not let you, probably, but this time fine, because you technically left the place. But sure, this time I will let you. Just remember for next time. Because honestly, you could come back, but we're trying to narrate this story. I know that sounds like a jerkish thing to do, but I think that makes sense. Anyway, you took a vial, so write down a vial of white dust and a vial of holified question mark waters, because you're not really sure if the divine energy has stayed there.
Got it?
Okay, noted.
As you three kind of walk out of the so-called cave with the kids and the body, you take a little bit of time, you go through the camp, the destroyed camp, you collect all of the things, the kids collect all of the items needed or not destroyed as well, and you're starting to make your way back into the city, or should I say town? I don't know why I said city. You're making yourself back into Hillford as you kind of ended up in the gates. The gates are opened, and you're kind of find yourself once again in the middle of the town, where you get the kids to their families, and well, Noella is kind of waiting for you. She looks at you, she sees the body bag, and she kind of sign with her head, kind of like tilt her head to the right and like tell you follow her as you go along.
Okay, we're going.
So she leads you into the garrison of the city. City again, town. She leads you to the garrison of the town itself. Not a very, very large building, honestly. It's a building that, like, it's a little bit bigger than the tavern, but it's a little bit taller as well. It's kind of like the tavern, but a little bit, like, wider and taller. It's like have 3 stories up. They're not looking in the best shape, but in the best shape possible, because honestly, you know that she will never take slacking off. She always trying to pretty much make sense to kind of like have the best quality for her soldiers as much as possible. Also, I should probably move the map for you all back into the main map. As you make yourself up into the garrison itself, the high floor, into her kind of office, she kind of like tell you to put the body bag in one of the rooms of the rested dead, or the kind of like hospital of the garrison, or the pharmacy, infantry of the garrison. I forgot the name for that again. You kind of like put the body there, and she take you in to her office, where you 3 sit on small chairs, while she sit on like a little bit bigger one. Her office is not really decorated. It's very, very simple and simplistic. She want nothing with like fame and everything from the ways it looks like. It looks like very simple and straight to the point. It just a place that she's there, working there, maybe living her life there, and just nothing else. She don't really find it like proudful. She's just doing her job, and that's it. She sits on the chair and she looks at you 3, and it's like, so, what do you have for me? What did you find?
Jonah's dead.
Yeah, I pretty much guessed that when you didn't really come back with him and the bodies and infantry. I kind of guessed that. We're going to go down to that next, but I want to hear your reports first, pretty much. If you have anything that you want to share with me, just share it on the table.
I think we should probably share the notebook that we got first.
Okay, so you're putting that on the table? She looks at it and is like, I can't read this. I see the pretty picture at the end, but I can't read this. What does it say?
So yeah, there were orcs and a goblin. Or two.
Nasty creatures. This looks like a demon. Did they serve this demon?
We're pretty sure
The opposite, actually.
Wait, what do you mean the opposite, actually? Orcs are creatures of...
Bobby, you were about to go on something. Go ahead.
Oh no, you can go.
Well, as we dealt the killing blow, the ringleader decided to curse the demon goddess, and so it would seem that they were actually in opposition to God that's written out in these notes.
But they're orcs. She's kind of like scratch her head. It was like, but that doesn't make any sense. At least
Well, conventional knowledge would say that that is odd, but we live in strange times, so I want to keep an open mind about what's going on.
For example, I am sober. That doesn't make sense.
We'll get you your
exactly.
We'll get you your L next. But seriously, right now, so you're saying that this is the goddess that they're against? So, are they serving another demon god or something, or they're just doing something against her?
We're still investigating this.
Well, I am very interested to know everything you're investigating, because that's not something that you see every day and could be quite frightening for the entire kingdom if that's kind of a thing.
Well, we don't exactly have any mother leads about exactly who they were serving, but we might have stumbled upon what their end goal was.
Which that is?
Can someone else open the bag? I'm a little squeamish about this.
What do you want? You want to get to show the vials?
Oh, Jonas, if you could present.
Oh.
I would appreciate it.
There's something that happened to Jonas. Can we get to him? That would be better to explain. Show not tell, if you will.
Very well, she said, as she kind of like put her arm to like tell you lead the way. And you're going down a stair back down to the infantry where you put Jonas. And you open up the body bag, and you show that to her. And she looks like, whoa, what is
So
this?
he's half golem now.
So he's half human, half bird creature, which is part of a metal? What is this?
I think he's half human, half golem.
Yeah, but golems, from my experience, don't look like this. They're not created like this.
I don't. Can I roll something for this?
What do you want? What are you trying to achieve?
If I know if there is if I think there are means to make a golem out of a human. So change a person into a golem.
I think it's an
Preferably a
Arcana
metal
check.
golem.
I'm not sure, but I think it makes sense that it will be an Arcana check because that's something nature of magic.
Okay, Arcana it is.
You roll twice, so I'm going to count the first one. The first one was a 12. No, for your knowledge, they could be, there also cannot be. You don't really know. You don't really specifically know.
I'm just coming up with the ideas. He's the guy that's with the magic one.
Well, it should be something that you should show to your master anyway. Which we should probably send somebody to call him here anyway. And then she just yelled there, William! Go send to the tower of the mages and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Call the master there.
That's a very good call, because, Bobby, could you please take out your sword?
Alright, so I'm going to reveal my sword then.
Okay. And she looks at the part of Jonas and it's like, look at the part that like the armor is missing. And she's looked at your sword and she see there are pretty much similarities. Let's see if she kind of like pieced it up together. Yeah, she pieced it up together and she's like, how the heck does this get up there? She asked.
That's something I would like also to know.
How did it get up there?
Oh,
It was
it
really
just...
unfathomable at the moment.
Interesting. Anything else that you want to share with me? Because I think there are a lot of things here down here that even without anything else to share, there are a lot of things to work and I have a headache for this one. But is there anything else that you find that could be useful for all of us?
They did something with the water and we have a water sample. I don't know if there's anything magical that we can get from this.
Well, for that's something from your jurisdiction, honestly. If that's from you said like it's not really magical, you said like it's more divine, right? Or you didn't say that? Or am I just thinking that you said that?
I didn't. I said magical. I said magical.
Okay, so she asked like, okay, so they're going against the demon goddess. They made this kind of a thing somehow. It has white lines here and there that shines, and part of it kind of jumped into your friend's sword. Great so far. Anything else that you find that kind of been interesting? Also, why these lines are so shiny?
We determined it's something called divine madness. We're fairly certain that the orc ringleader was causing this to creatures, and it's the source of what caused the bears in the cave to be more aggressive than normal, and is possibly the reason why Jonas is now a lot heavier than he once was.
Great. Anything else happened to the kids?
A few scratches, but nothing we cannot do.
Well,
By the way, how many kids were supposed to be here?
5?
Okay, good.
What, you didn't even know how many kids you were going to rescue? She kind of like raised her eyebrow.
You never told us!
You never asked.
Fair.
But she said, like, I think we were.
You're right. Next time we will make sure to ask for a roster and delay the process before going out next time. That's correct.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit on the panic on this one, she said. As like, I kind of forgot to mention that. But for the most part, it looks like everybody's here is fine. I will essentially keep eye on those children, or at least send people to like tell them that like to keep eye on them, to tutor them a little bit more, because maybe they are affected by something that we don't know. So just to make sure for the time being, I think will be smart. And another thing I would say, I don't really have anything else to say, I think. Unless there anything else. You said that there's these waters, and what's about these waters? They're magical. I don't think I can help you with anything about that anymore, but it's something that I should probably go check out.
That's why I'm happy you called the Magic Master.
And you said there was a little bit of introduction with some kind of a weird white magic. Isn't that a little bit divine-ish? At least I know a little bit of the colors. I think white is mostly divine, supposed to be, right?
I mean, in general, yes. This entire situation smells of some strange happenings going on.
Well,
You don't normally
It can
see.
be. It doesn't have to. You know, should I roll deception on this because I don't want her to. I don't want to produce the white powder, the white dust we found.
I mean, you didn't say anything about that, so I don't really think she need to kind of like suspect you. You didn't say anything about that, so I don't really see any reason. Like, if you're specifically trying to hide for no reason, then you should roll. But if you're like, I don't think you should even try to, because you didn't even present that. It looks like for her that you just presented everything. But if you want to roll, you should roll with advantage, because for her, it looks like you put everything on the table. Like, everything.
Okay, so she thinks that we pulled everything out.
Yeah, she's kind of like, look at you, is like, is there anything else? And it's like, to her, like, 1 or 2 seconds of silence is like, okay, if that's it, then I probably need to fill a report and send for one of the Council 5's ASAP. Because this is something very, very big.
Yes, you should do that. And now I'll go back to my place since I have to do stuff.
I wonder which one of the Council 5 is going to pay attention to this, because most of them don't do that. She said, she mumbles off as she's like, kind of like stepping up the stairs and going back to her office. You heard like a very, very like the door kind of like, you know, get like slammed, because like it's not looks like she's angry when she's talking to you, but it looks like she's very angry when she's leaving. So she's kind of like slamming the door and kind of like want you to leave her alone, kind of right now. Anyway, continue on.
Well, if each tower is going to be taking custody of the evidence soon, I should probably go back and coordinate that with everyone.
I'm going back to my clergy with the powder in hand.
You're going to ask the fathers there to kind of help you with that, or you're just specifically just going to go there?
I'll ask open who think I'm not crazy.
Also, the duck is still with you, by the way. I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, Bobby, you should go and take the duck with you back to the inn. It was very helpful. It's the best duck ever. I'll never eat a duck again.
As you three kind of like trying to step out of your way, your master arrived, Wexley. He's arrived to this place, like, very, very urgently. Like, you actually see him, like, kind of fly faster than usual as he lands kind of like on the table of the so-called corpse of Jonas.
Ah, Professor, good of you to, arrive so soon.
Well, it's heard it was urgent. As you see the soldiers that like went to get him, it's like, how can a gnome fly so fast? It's like, he's kind of like doing like in his hands like, okay, where's the commander? She's here or she's somewhere else?
I believe she's currently trying to contact the Council of 5 at the moment. She gives off an aura of, if you interrupt me, then there's going to be court-martial.
Oh, good. And honestly, this is a big loss for everyone, as he looks like a Jonas and like he's going to do his own things. William going to go do his things. He just kind of like said, I will leave you to it. I have my own duties for right now, but probably will be a funeral pretty soon. With what left of this it's kind of a shame.
I hope his brothers will be able to come.
Well, I will leave you to it, he said. As he's leaving, finally, the professor looks at you and is like, okay, so... that's interesting, he says. As he, like, you're looking, he kind of, like, mumbles at the same time and, like, moving his hands, kind of, like, you know, in a magical kind of way. He's like, okay, so, apparently, at least he hold up the sword first. You look at it, Bobby, and it's like, it's been a few hours, but the sword looks a little bit better. It looks like it's not like a combined thing that just got attached to it like a parasite. It looks a little bit more natural with the sword now. And it's like, he looked at it and it's like, he said to you, he kind of picked up the sword and was like, okay, so I'm not sure about this sword, but it's not dangerous by its nature. Honestly, I think the only reason why this item or something got attached to it is because of the excess energy of the magics that was around. And your weapon kind of like suited it the most in terms of designs and everything. It's not dangerous. It will take time to adjust to it, but from what I can tell, for the time being, just put it to the side. I will kind of like test it a little bit later and tell you what that is, but I think you can use it, he said to you, Bobby, as like he kind of like moving the sword is like, I'm pretty sure that's yours, he said, because like I don't see any weapon on you, and my student don't use weapons, use magic, which is a higher quality of fighting skills in my opinion. But to each his own.
All right, that's good to know. I really like that sword. I was hoping not to throw it away anytime soon.
It might going to have a few changes, but I don't think it's something major. If it starts to act weird, bring it to me. But I think it will be fine, and I will kind of like, if you see no changes in it, because it looks like it's kind of like doing stuff right now, the moment that like it stables down and doesn't change for a day, bring it up to me, and we'll see what it is all about. As for this, he said, as he moves the body, he's like, what did you find here, boys? Because this is not something that I kind of like understand exactly, because this is more looks like a cleric kind of work rather than mine. It has some magical prowess into it, but it's more of like divine related, which is not my jurisdiction, or at least what I'm kind of specialized at.
So a guy having half of his body fused with a metal is not magic?
This is not magical, he says. It was like, at least for my, like, some of the properties here are magical, but this is not like golem creation, if that's what you're trying to mean. It's not a magical golem creation, it's something different. It more looks like a half of like combination / summoning at the same time, more than anything else. Interesting.
Oh, goody.
So, what did you find exactly? Because I'm very interested to hear the story.
White madness.
White madness? You mean the weird divine disease?
Yeah, on a few bears, and apparently on Jonas.
Poor boy. And he looks then on the vial of the magic water, so to speak. He looked at it and he said, okay, also a little bit more divine than anything else. There are some magical properties into it, mostly, I would say, transmutation magic, I guess, if that's the class for that. For like mostly like transmutation and invocation magic, but it's not really something that exactly that. It looks like it more like combined with divine. Which, what kind of creature done this? Because honestly, I don't think there's like good creatures that use divine power for evil, from what I know. Like, divine power is mostly used by good creatures, no?
An orc.
Unless it's profane in nature, but that's normally not the aesthetic that we're dealing with.
An orc, you say? that's very interesting. Orcs using divine magic. I thought they're only using dark/fail magic. Or something on that sort. That's very interesting. Not sure what I can just make out of this, honestly. He says.
Okay, I guess I'll have to take it to the temple.
Yeah, I guess you should. I think only the father probably will know something a little bit better than me. Well, he kind of like close up the body bag. You look at you three and is like, I'm sorry I cannot be so much of a help, but I kind of don't really understand this. This is not really my jurisdiction for the most part. I'm hoping a little bit was able to light some things on the matter. But yeah, hoping the children probably will not be like traumatized. I feel like the so-called ceremony is probably going to be delayed. Celebration, if not even existent this year, because I think everybody probably want to forget about it, to be honest.
That's fair.
Well, I leave you
That seems prudent.
I will leave you all to it. Wexley, if you want to come with me, that will be much appreciated, because we have some things to maybe discuss about, because I feel like you have a little bit more bruises than you should have, so I think it's something that I should teach you for next time, because you said you might going to go adventuring, and from the way that it looks, it might going to involve you in other things as well, because, well, you found out something that you maybe shouldn't have, my student, but that's life, I guess. So, should probably kind of prepare you for that, if there is something that you're going to do.
Of course.
Well then.
Thank you for your expertise, Professor. It was an honor.
He kind of like halfly kind of bow, says kind of like in a way.
Yeah, I'm very polite.
Yeah,
kind of
noticed.
unnaturally
he's not
so.
saying anything about this. He's just saying he bow himself. He kind of like start flying back and just, well, come along, Wexley. We have a lot of things to do. And he's, as Wexley leave you, where are you two going? Just to let me know.
I'm going to see the father.
And you, Bobby?
I don't know, return to Duck.
Well, as you two do your so-called chores, I think this is the perfect time to take the break and end up